Hello everyone, this is All Theory, No Practice on what is, for now, the last episode of Let's Dissect Undertale. Here's the thing. This is not a series based around just playing through a game all the way. It's based around basically getting a live review. Part of the point of a review is that it's really about playing until I feel like my opinion isn't going to change on the game. And I feel like I've reached that point with Undertale despite having not reached the end. Funny story though, despite not wanting to finish this, I still think it's a good game. I think what makes it good, however, is the fact that it's trying to do something different. It's trying to be an RPG that doesn't have combat. It's trying a bunch of disparate elements, which I think is genius, and I think the writing and the characters are fantastic. However, I feel like the gameplay has come to a standstill, which means I have largely nothing left to comment on. And it feels very much like it's just going to be the same thing from here on out. If you have played this game, and you think there is suddenly going to be some game mechanic that springs up later in the game, I'm actually going to hold that against the game. It's almost better I don't know that right now, because this game has had 2 hours to try and introduce all of its relevant mechanics and to try and hook me on its gameplay. And it hasn't. At the end of the day, we have two types of games you want to keep playing. The games you want to keep playing because you want to see what happens next, or the games you want to keep playing because you're having fun and really want to keep playing. This is a game where I want to see what happens next, but I can accomplish that, and so can you, either by playing on your own or by watching someone else's Let's Play. They're everywhere, especially for this game. This game is huge. Because this is a game that is mostly interesting me for its story and characters, I'm probably going to save it and either, like I said, play on my own or reserve it for a series I have planned for in the future called Let's Dramatize, where I and some of my friends sit down and voice act very story-heavy games that are all text-based. This one is a perfect example of that. As for the gameplay, though, see, here's the thing. With most RPGs, JRPG, Western RPG, most games in general, really, the reason they have XP bars is so that you can level up. The reason you level up is because you get to feel stronger. You get to see that progress appear during the game. In this game, I think it's actually really clever that the whole point is that you're not fighting. You're trying to talk. You're trying to, just not be the violent monster that Asgore seems to think you all are. The difference, however, comes in some of its mechanics. For starters, the fact that you don't gain XP for talking is actually kind of patronizing. Not even patronizing, that's not the right word. It's insulting. The idea that I'm not learning by talking, the idea that you only learn, that you only get stronger, that you only get better by killing things, especially when they say LV doesn't stand for level, it stands for love. The idea that your love goes up by killing something? That doesn't make any sense. Also, this turns into a rather unsatisfying gameplay experience. Because I'm not getting stronger, because I'm not getting better, because me as a player and a character have nothing to gain by talking or fighting, it turns into this thing where there's no reason to interact with any of the monsters for any reason. The gold apparently can't get spent on anything, and if it can, but it's much later, again, I'm going to hold that against the game for not introducing that soon enough to keep me interested, because right now it's just, I'm amassing gold for no reason, and what I've learned is to avoid every monster. There's also the thing where, character-wise, there's no reason to keep going. As a player, I have no reason to keep playing, other than to see what happens next, which I said I can do on my own or watch someone else's playthrough. And as a character, I have no reason to keep going. My character has no motivations, no reason to still be down here, no reason to keep doing anything besides stay in Toriel's house. And so we come to this situation where, because I don't feel like I'm improving, because every single battle is not even a test of skill or a test of statistics or a test of your build or anything like that, every single battle is just, all right, hit act, figure out which conversation option stops them, and then hit spare. Meanwhile, dodge their attacks, which is varying degrees of difficult, but so far not all that tough. And then we run into the issue where, because you're never leveling up, because none of the experience you're gaining, because I am gaining experience as a player, if not as a character, none of that translates into being better at combat, which is the main mechanic of the game. You don't get better stats or equipment to make you better at dodging. You don't gain more health to sustain the blows. It's just a stagnant character state, which, like I said, is kind of insulting. It's almost going against the premise of the game, the idea that you can't grow unless you're killing something. It also ends up wildly unsatisfying. So because of all of that, I'm actually going to stop Undertale here. I'm not even going to keep playing for this episode, hence why you're staring at the blank title screen the whole time, because there's no point in continuing. I feel like if this game was going to grab me, it had its chance over the past 2 hours to do so. Especially when, as a game designer, your job is to grab me within the first 15 minutes. But, despite the fact that I just laid criticisms into it, I want to point out criticism is not a bad thing. I don't think this game is bad. I actually think it's good. I think it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 so far. Might get higher depending on the emotional impact this game has on me as I continue. And as I said, this may not be the last time you see Undertale on this channel, but it is the end of the Let's Dissect. So starting tomorrow, I will be continuing a different game. Right now the lineup is probably going to be Bastion. I know I said it was going to be Assassin's Creed 4. I'll explain that more when I start that show, really. But I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for all coming with me. Thank you to the person who suggested this. I think it's a fantastic game, but I think this review is over. And on that note, thank you, and I will see you tomorrow for the next episode of Let's Dissect. Probably Bastion, but I'm not going to make promises. So just the next episode of Let's Dissect in general. Thank you very much for joining me.